All right, let's dive in. Today we're tackling self-improvement.
Sounds good.
And get this, we've got 4 incredible books to guide us.
Lay 'em on me.
Okay, so we've got Atomic Habits,
Classic.
12 Rules for Life,
Peterson. Good one.
Ikigai,
Interesting choice.
and, to spice things up, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck.
Okay, so we're covering a lot of ground here.
That's right. We're on a mission to extract the most practical advice from these books so you, dear listener, can make some positive changes and really level up your life. Think of it like these books are a treasure map, and we're going on an adventure to uncover the gold, those nuggets of wisdom that'll help you be the best version of yourself.
I love that analogy. And what strikes me is how each book tackles self-improvement so differently.
Oh, totally.
But they all kind of come back to this idea of taking control of your life.
Right. Whether it's through these tiny habits or facing your deepest fears, it's all about making those conscious choices to shape who you want to become.
Exactly.
So should we start with Atomic Habits by James Clear?
Sure.
I'm obsessed with how he breaks down this huge task of changing your life.
It can be daunting.
It can be. But he makes it seem so manageable. It's not about, flipping your life upside down overnight.
Right.
It's about those small 1% improvements that add up over time.
I like to think of it like compound interest,
A good point.
You wouldn't expect to become a millionaire from a single dollar, right?
No.
But if you consistently invest, little by little, those small contributions can grow into something really substantial over time.
It's the same with habits. Clear uses this great analogy in the book. It's about a plane taking off.
Oh, I remember that one.
If the pilot shifts the plane's trajectory by just a few degrees, you might not notice the difference at first.
Makes sense.
But over a long flight, that tiny change in direction can lead you to a completely different destination.
It's incredible, the power of compounding, right?
It really is. And the best part,
Yeah.
you can apply this to any area of your life.
Yeah.
Think about one small habit you want to improve, even just starting with 5 minutes of meditation each morning.
Or reading a chapter of a book before bed.
Yeah, anything. Commit to doing it consistently and imagine the impact a year from now.
You might be surprised.
Totally. Okay, I want to jump to 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. There's this one rule that really hit me hard.
Which one?
Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient.
Ah, yes. That's a good one. It's so easy to get caught up in those quick fixes and instant gratification, but Peterson's saying true fulfillment comes from something deeper.
It's like he's not saying you have to live a life of total deprivation or anything.
No, of course not.
But it's about being intentional with your choices. Do they match up with your values?
Right.
Because sometimes, choosing that meaningful path, it takes sacrifice.
It does.
Discipline, delaying gratification.
That's hard.
It is, but it's worth it.
Peterson uses this interesting analogy with lobsters.
Lobsters, okay. So lobsters that win fights get this rush of serotonin.
Makes them feel good.
Yeah, it makes them more confident and more likely to win again in the future.
Yeah.
It's this positive feedback loop. And Peterson argues that we have a similar system as humans.
So success builds on itself.
Exactly. But it takes those initial tough choices.
You have to get the ball rolling.
Exactly. So it's not just knowing what's meaningful, it's having the guts to actually choose it, even when it's hard.
That's the key.
Maybe it's saying no to a tempting opportunity, or pushing past your comfort zone to go after something you're passionate about.
Like choosing to go to the gym even when you're tired.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example. You know it's good for you long term.
Exactly. It's about that delayed gratification.
And that's where discipline comes in, right? Peterson talks a lot about this.
Discipline, yeah. Gets a bad rap sometimes.
He does. But it's so important for reaching those big goals.
No doubt.
And he gets kind of controversial with this one. He uses this example of parents who can't say no to their toddler.
Okay, I see where this is going.
And that lack of boundaries just creates more tantrums and chaos.
It makes sense. Kids need boundaries.
Right. Peterson's arguing that children need discipline to learn self-control and become responsible adults.
It's definitely a touchy subject.
It is, but he makes a good point about the consequences of avoiding those tough conversations and setting clear boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
He actually says that failing to properly socialize children early on increases the chances they'll face, societal punishment later.
Interesting.
It's almost like we're setting them up for failure.
I see what you mean, by not giving them the tools they need.
Exactly.
I think what Peterson's getting at is that sometimes saying no and setting firm boundaries, even though it can feel uncomfortable, is a form of love.
I agree. It's about helping people develop that self-discipline, to thrive,
Mhm.
to reach their full potential.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about making those small changes, picking the meaningful path, and the whole discipline thing.
Sounds about right.
But how do we even figure out what's meaningful in the first place?
Great question. And this is where Ikigai comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
This Japanese concept is all about finding your reason for being, your Ikigai. And the book says that leads to a longer, happier life.
Hmm.
And it's not always about finding some dream job. It's about finding activities that bring you joy.
Regardless of whether you get paid for it or not.
Exactly.
I love the stories about those centenarians in Okinawa, Japan.
They live forever.
They do. And their lives are full of, like, gardening, spending time with loved ones, traditional crafts. They just radiate purpose.
It's not tied to, like, money or fame.
Exactly. It's something deeper.
And that's a core part of Ikigai. It's not about chasing external success. It's about discovering what intrinsically motivates you, what makes you feel truly alive and engaged.
It's like that feeling of being so lost in something you love that you lose track of time. Flow. Right. Yes.
Flow. And Ikigai suggests that these flow experiences are essential for a good life.
So it's not just about a single purpose. It can be a whole bunch of things, activities, passions.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for all come together.
Wow.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. So it's not just about getting a job that pays the bills. It's about finding something that lights you up.
Makes you feel like you're making a contribution.
Right. Makes me think we get so hung up on finding our one true calling.
Yeah,
But maybe it's more about having lots of different things that give you meaning.
I think so. It's like a diverse portfolio.
Yeah.
But instead of stocks, you've got those passions, those things that light you up.
Okay, I like that. And that brings us to The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck by Mark Manson.
Yeah, there's a title.
Right. Might sound a little strange when we're talking about self-improvement,
Yeah, at first glance.
but stick with me here.
Okay, I'm listening.
I don't think Manson's saying to be totally apathetic, you know?
No, I agree.
It's more about being careful where you put your energy, where you focus.
You can't care deeply about everything.
No way. It's a recipe for burnout.
Absolutely.
Manson's point is that we only have so many fix to give,
Okay, love it.
and we got to be smart about where we invest them.
Prioritize.
Exactly. Choose your battles.
Yeah.
Let go of the stuff that really doesn't matter.
It's like decluttering, but for your mind.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, get rid of all that mental baggage. Make space for the good stuff.
The things that bring you joy, you know?
Exactly. Manson's really funny. He uses a lot of personal stories to get this point across.
What's one that sticks out to you?
Oh, I remember this one about his obsession with finding a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
He was so focused on finding the
He's
one,
putting so much pressure on herself.
so much, and it totally backfired.
It can be like that.
It was only when he shifted his focus, you know, started building a life he was actually proud of.
And then,
Then he found a great relationship.
interesting.
So it's not about pretending you don't care about anything.
Nope.
It's about being deliberate with your energy, choosing where you want to focus.
Accepting that you can't control everything.
And sometimes letting go actually leads to more happiness, more fulfillment.
Exactly. Life is unpredictable. It's messy. And that's okay.
It's about focusing on what you can control. Your actions, your reactions, your choices.
Makes you think about how much we try to avoid pain, avoid discomfort.
But maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe those are the things that help us grow.
Help us discover who we really are.
Like that saying, the only way out is through.
Right. You got to face those challenges, those fears head on.
It builds resilience.
Makes you stronger.
Helps you navigate all those ups and downs life throws at you.
And this ties back to Peterson's idea of confronting that shadow self.
Oh yeah, the parts of ourselves we try to hide.
Peterson says that acknowledging those darker impulses, those parts of ourselves we don't like,
The stuff we think is unacceptable.
it's crucial for personal growth.
He uses that analogy about cleaning a room.
I remember that one.
You can't just sweep the dirt under the rug, pretend it's not there,
You got to deal with it.
bring it out in the open.
And then you can have a truly clean space.
It's the same with our inner world.
I love that analogy. So it's about integrating those shadow parts.
Not pretending they don't exist.
It's only when we really look at our darkness that we can heal and grow.
It's tough, though.
It is. It takes honesty, vulnerability.
Willingness to face those parts of ourselves we'd rather keep hidden.
Peterson says it's the key to becoming a whole person.
Makes sense.
He tells this story about his friend Chris, who took his own life.
Oh, wow.
And Peterson reflects on how Chris struggled with his inner demons.
It's powerful.
It makes you think, what if he had faced those darker impulses?
Maybe things would have been different.
It's a reminder that we can't just ignore those parts of ourselves, no matter how uncomfortable.
It's about accepting that we all have light and shadow inside us.
We're not perfect. We have flaws. We make mistakes.
And that's okay.
What matters is that we learn from those mistakes.
That we try to be better each day.
It's not about reaching some perfect ideal.
It's about constantly growing, evolving.
So we've covered a lot here. Tiny habits, deepest fears.
It's a lot.
What are some key takeaways for our listeners, those practical tips for self-improvement?
Well, first things first. Self-improvement is a journey. It's not about reaching some end point.
It's ongoing.
Exactly. It's about those small, consistent efforts over time, choosing the meaningful path even when it's tough.
And facing those parts of ourselves we try to hide.
Finding your Ikigai.
The things that make you feel alive.
Putting your energy into what truly matters.
Embracing the messiness of life.
Yeah.
Knowing those challenges are where we often find our strength.
Be kind to yourself along the way. You don't have to be perfect to deserve happiness.
And remember, you have the power to shape your own life.
One choice at a time.
Wow. It's amazing how these books all come together. They each have their own style.
Their own voice.
But they paint this, complete picture of self-improvement.
Yeah. It's not about being perfect.
Right. It's about those choices we make.
Aligning them with what really matters to us.
And those choices, even the tiny ones, they can make a huge difference.
They ripple outwards, change your whole life.
It's like that story in Atomic Habits about the British cycling team. Remember?
Oh, yeah. What'd they do?
They made these tiny tweaks to their training.
Like what?
Oh, things like changing their handlebars.
Yeah.
Using biofeedback sensors. It seemed insignificant, but those changes led them to dominate the sport for years.
Wow. See, small changes can have huge results.
Especially if you're consistent.
Do them over time.
Exactly. It's not just about what happens on the outside, though.
What do you mean?
It's about how you change on the inside, too.
Ah, I see.
Becoming more aware of yourself, more disciplined, finding your purpose.
Living resilient.
Compassion, courage.
Showing up for yourself every day.
Choosing to live a life that reflects your values.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. That's what really struck me from these books.
Yeah.
It's not about being successful in some, traditional sense.
It's not about the money, the fame.
It's about creating a life that feels real.
Yeah.
That feels true to you.
And that's different for everyone.
Absolutely. There's no one right way to do this self-improvement thing.
What matters is that you find what works for you.
What fits with your values and goals.
And don't be afraid to experiment, to try new things.
If something's not working, switch it up.
It's a journey, right?
A journey with ups and downs.
And remember, you're not alone.
So many people are on this path, too.
If you're feeling stuck, reach out.
Talk to people. Find support.
You got this.
And don't underestimate those small, consistent actions.
They can change everything.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap things up.
I agree. Lots for everyone to think about.
This has been a fascinating deep dive. I know I'm feeling inspired to make some changes.
Me too.
Self-improvement. It's a journey, not a destination.
Be patient with yourself.
Celebrate your progress.
Never stop learning and growing.
And most importantly, have fun along the way.
Exactly. Enjoy the ride.
Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.